it turned into me wishing that he would hurry up and come, and me saying, at least come before this time, to just wishing, okay, yeah, I wish I would have had a really rough pregnancy. And I'm talking about passing out rough. Like I passed out a few times during my pregnancy while I was at work, literally just standing up at a desk. So it was that type of rough. That on top of all the other things that naturally go on during pregnancies, like morning sickness and just getting uncomfortable, hard to sleep because your belly's so big and it's in the way of everything. So it was like all of that. It got to the point where it's like, towards the end of my pregnancy in the last month, I'm like wanting my son to come early. 2 weeks early, a week early, whatever, just come early. Like I can't even wait till your due date anymore. And it started getting closer and closer and closer and closer to that due date. I'm like, okay, well, he ain't gonna come early. He's probably gonna come a little late or whatever. So I'm like, at least come before March at this point. At least before March. So my son, he's like, okay, at least before March, I'll come on the last day of February. So my son came on the last day of February this year, before March. He came at least before March, and it was 2 days after his estimated due date. So my son is about to be 5 months now, and I actually missed being pregnant. Even though it was so rough and I was just so over it towards the end, it's like now I miss it and I want to go back to it. I miss feeling, his movements and stuff inside my belly. I miss feeling those reactions to him moving around when he hears my voice or when I'm rubbing on my belly. And then he's getting bigger now. Of course, he's still small, but I miss when he was smaller, that actual newborn stage where he's so, he's fresh out the womb. He's so small. I'm just starting to miss all of that. And it's like, I wish I would have. It turned into me wishing that he would hurry up and come, and me saying, at least come before this time, to just wishing, okay, yeah, I wish I would have cherished that pregnancy a little bit more now. It's like when you wish for stuff, you don't really, if you're not direct and clear about what you're wishing and hoping for, then it's like you don't know how you could get it. You don't know how it could come to you. It could come any type of way. There's so many different possibilities of ways that it can come, and that could be in a positive way or a negative way. And then when you do get it, you don't even know how you're going to feel afterwards. So just like the saying, be careful what you wish for, you also have to be clear and direct with what you ask for. And the same thing with just changing the word from wish to ask. It's pretty much the same thing. And you also have to be less compromising as well, I've learned, especially just in any type of relationship with someone else. When you're trying to ask for something, what you want or need out of that relationship. For example, if you have a couple and they're venting to each other about what they need from each other out of the relationship, and let's say one of them is wanting more time out of the relationship, like more quality time with each other out of the relationship, and they already have in their mind, like they want a day or two to spend together, to plan something, to go out and have some type of outing or date, or just some day that's dedicated to them spending that time together. But they want to be so, they want to compromise or whatever, because they don't want to feel like they're asking for too much. So they end up saying, well, can we at least just spend an hour together to watch a movie every day out of the week, instead of spending a whole day together on the weekend or something. So then it's like, while at first they're venting because they feel like they don't spend any quality time together, the argument becomes from that to, we don't spend any time together, to, well, now we only spend X amount of time together. Now it's only an hour or whatever. Why can't we plan a whole day together to spend with each other? And then on another hand, outside of a couple, let's just say it's a friend or a roommate or something. Okay, so we have two roommates that live together, and let's say one of them has an issue with the kitchen is always a mess, and they feel like they're the ones that's always constantly cleaning the kitchen, keeping the kitchen clean, washing the dishes, taking the trash out, and everything like that. They want to tell the roommate, can you clean the kitchen half of the week or something? Like, can we do it to where, I wash the dishes. I clean the kitchen 3 days out of the week. You clean the kitchen 3 days out of the week. One day, we can just relax and don't worry about it. Or I keep the kitchen clean this week. You could keep the kitchen clean that week. But instead, they don't want to seem like, they're coming off too strong, asking for too much. So they just say, can you at least take out the trash? Or can you at least wash your dishes out? And then it becomes from, okay, the kitchen is a mess. Can you clean up, this week and I'll do it the next week? Can we split it like that? It comes from that to, okay, you're not cleaning up at all, to now.
Well, now you're only taking out the trash. You're only washing out your little cup and your bowl or whatever. When I clean up the whole kitchen. You never clean up the whole kitchen. You only do X, Y, and Z.
When if you was direct from the beginning, then it wouldn't have to be all that. Well, you feel like you kind of asked for something that you still not even getting, and it's not what you wanted in the first place. Like, you wanted a little bit more than that. So now you're still frustrated. Now you got to go off again because you're upset that, well, now you only doing this. Why can't you do it this way? If I ask this way, that means to try to put in a little bit more effort. It's like, well, no, you didn't ask for that. So I'm going to give you what you asked for. Once you start being passive aggressive or only asking for at least, you're only going to get the bare minimum. You're going to get the least of whatever you're trying to ask for out of that situation. And I'm not saying it's completely, always 100% without a doubt going to be that way, because there are some people that will go that extra mile. If you ask them for something simple, then they'll be like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do the whole thing. Or there's some people that you don't even have to ask at all. They just willingly do it on their own. But a lot of the time, you can even say majority of the time, it don't work out like that. You don't come across people that's just going to be doing, exactly what you want, hoped, wished, asked for, or whatever without you asking. Like, them just willingly doing it on their own. So it's like, just don't even set yourself up like that. Just lay it out all on the table, straight up, right then and there, and not be passive about it, not leave bits and pieces out, and not do the at least part. Ask for exactly what you want and how much of it, not just the bare minimum of it, because that's not going to do any good for you. You're still going to be upset if you still just getting the bare minimum of it. Because even when you're not getting it at all, that's a problem. But then when it's just the bare minimum, you're like, okay, well, I'm just getting the bare minimum now. That's not enough. I also know that it's not always that simple. Sometimes it's both of you that are kind of needing things that you're both lacking what you're doing as far as, maintaining that relationship. So with the roommate situation, while that person, could be asking the other person to clean up a bit more, that person could be the one that's doing most of the working and paying majority of the bills. Maybe the bills is not split 50-50, just like the cleaning hasn't been split 50-50. So maybe that person that isn't cleaning as much is working a bit more. And let's say their issue is the other roommate who's able to stay at home a little bit more. They have company over a lot late at night, while the one that's working every day out of the week and maybe not part-time or something, they have to get up early mornings or whatever. And then the other roommate, they have company over all hours through the night, and they're always noisy and stuff. So now this one can't get the sleep that they need, the quality sleep that they may want, and they have to wake up early in the morning to go to work really tired and frustrated on that. So it's like, sometimes I understand that it's not just one-sided where one person needs to do what the other person wants. You do have to compromise sometimes and kind of work to find that balance to where everything's flowing evenly and you're both doing your part or playing your roles if you all feel like you've set certain roles for yourself. Because I don't want to when I say roles, I don't mean like gender roles or anything like that, like the woman needs to cook and clean and the man goes to work. I'm not talking about that. It's really what works for y'all, because that's not going to work for every situation. Y'all have to figure out what works for y'all. And figuring out what works for y'all is also figuring out what works for yourself individually as well. So that's why I say you can't just, beat around the bush or be passive aggressive with what you're asking that, you know, you want or need out of something. You have to be direct with it and be straight up and ask for exactly what it is, and not the at least part of it, not the bare minimum of it. Because then later on the line, when y'all are, you know, throwing all that back at each other, like, you don't do this, you don't do that, and it's like, well, in the beginning you wasn't asking for all that. In the beginning you was saying you just want me to do this and that. Now it's, nah, it's not enough. I need you to do this and that, and this too. So just lay it all out on the table right then. And that's hard. That is hard. Trust me, I know, because I don't do it myself. It's something that I'm literally working on within my relationships as well, which is why I'm even talking about this, because it's something that I've recently noticed within my own relationships. It's not always about your relationships with others. It's with the relationship with yourself as well. Like, if you're even telling yourself, like, if you don't do much, you just stay in bed most of the time, and then you finally tell yourself, well, okay, just at least get out of bed today. Then you're just gonna at least get out of bed. Like, you're gonna get out of bed, go to the bathroom, maybe get something to eat, sit in the living room for 30 minutes or something and watch TV, and then go get back in the bed again for the rest of the day. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, you know, I did at least what I said I was going to do. You know, at least I did get out of the bed. But you didn't go out and actually do anything and get any new experiences or anything like that. You did the bare minimum that you asked of yourself. But if you say, you know, I'm going to get out of bed today, I'm going to start doing X, Y, and Z, and you actually put effort towards that, you know, get up and get in the shower, put some clothes on, and actually step outside, then maybe you'll do a little bit more. But if you just get out of the bed and take a shower and go sit down on the couch or something, it's like, you're really not helping yourself. You're just doing the bare minimum just to say that you did it. At least you did that bare minimum. I guess it kind of comes down to what you want out of life too. Like, if you want more out of life, just like they say, if you know better, you do better. If you want more, then you'll do more. You're not just gonna do the bare minimum. So that's for yourself and for relationships as well. You don't want to get to a point where you're kind of going back and forth at each other. Like, in the beginning, you wasn't saying all that. You was just asking for this. And now you're saying you want all this. Now you're adding all this extra stuff. It just causes too much to pile up when it all could have been on the table.